emergency operations plan. Morning, Gail.
Morning.
And they wrote all of the repeaters into their emergency ops plan as their backup emergency communications. And they submitted to the state, and then the state approved it. So it's like they're not going anywhere, and they know what's up there. And what help do you need? How can we help you? I mean, they've punched holes, they've wired stuff, they've done all kinds of stuff because it's in their plan. They got to deal with it. So anyway, good morning, guys.
What was that with, Bob?
That was Watsonville Hospital. They took
Okay.
the three repeaters that are up on the roof and they wrote them into their emergency operations plan,
Oh, yeah.
which they submitted to the state and the state approved.
That's great.
So it's like, well, now what do we do, right?
Yeah. And that, well, it could also be, it's an asset for uh, this Santa Cruz County EOC also.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's just like we were talking before you came on. It's like there's all these individuals at these offices of emergency services and stuff. They don't seem to want to look into what has happened in the operational area that I am now responsible for, and therefore what could happen again. They just don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And granted, like I said, most of them weren't alive back when like the 89 quake happened
Mhm.
or 9/11 happened. But you know, how many people realize that when 9/11 happened and they issued the aviation grounding of all aircraft?
Mhm.
Does anybody know that Watsonville Airport had a buttload of planes sitting all over it because they had to have some place to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, uh, oh well.
Yeah. Well, good morning, anyway, everybody. So, with that, we'll get started. I guess first off, I got the KR6JE updates. What's the latest?
Oh, okay. Lot of updates. So let's see if I can do this. I want to share a screen a minute for you.
Okay.
Send request. Okay, so I guess you gotta,
You've been allowed.
okay. So share screen, and I want to share, I want to do, desktop three. There we go. And share. So can everybody see that equipment right there?
Yes.
Okay, that is the back end view of the repeater up on Williams Hill after Dave and I went down there and we found out what was wrong with the one that was there. It was literally locked. Well, it wasn't locked up. What was wrong was the squelch tail timer was not working. In other words, when you unkey, the squelch tail timer starts up for 2 seconds and then it's supposed to shut the transmitter down. It was not working. And it was running out to the 10-minute timer and then timing out. The guys at Yaesu had no idea why it was doing that. That's why it was locking up the whole system because it was still transmitting back. The link port up on Fremont Peak was hanging up, and so everything was just locked. So they have no idea why it did it, but we yanked it out and took the one that they had just repaired and put it back in, which is what you see there. Um, and that's the front of it. The repeater's up the top. One of the problems, if you look up at the top, you're going to see on the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the display, you see yellow and yellow, okay? That is because it is configured for analog FM in and analog FM out. The repeater that went down there to replace this one so it could get repaired was set up for automatic in and FM out. And apparently somebody played around with it and tried to put a digital signal in, and that freaked the code out. It's the only thing that Yesu says could have happened. Other than that, they don't understand why it did what it did. I've got it on my bench and in that mode, and I can't make it fail yet. So I'll let you know what we find out. Um, here is the really good news. Okay. So down at the bottom of this picture, you see the big UPS that MC ARES got and we put in up there.
Yeah.
So when we walked into that room last week, we went and turned on the light switch and no lights. That's strange. Why are there no lights? And Dave walked over and looked at the repeater, and the repeater was powered up. Well, the repeater's on. So he looked down at that blue screen down on the bottom right corner of the UPS, and it said it was on battery. The screen was yellow and it was on battery. And we thought, oh, well, that says there's no power. But we're supposed to be plugged into a generator powered outlet. Okay. So then the guy, our military escort came in and says, hey, there's other generators running on the mountaintop up here. Oh, we said, oh, okay. It's a PG&E power outage. So then Dave said, well, hey, that's good because now we can walk around the room and test all the outlets and find out which one is actually running on the generator. So we did. We went around and we tested. Well, we tested the one we were plugged in. There's no power. We tested everything around it and we found two outlets that are on generator powered. So the power cord running to the UPS is now rerouted and plugged into an actual generator powered outlet. So, oh my gosh, who's on mine now? So the repeater is now officially connected to a generator output. And the UPS is back up. Let's see, I can move here and show you. The UPS is back up, battery recharged, and everything is back up to the way it should, and we have full backup power now.
Great.
Now, this is something you guys need to think of in terms of your input as to what we do down there. Let me move one more and show you something. Okay, can you see those two towers?
Yes.
Okay, so when the repeater went into this building here with the three vent stacks on the top, we were told that this tower to the left of the building with all the dishes and stuff on the top belongs to the military. Okay, so if I can do this, let me see. Hold on. Okay, so if I do that, I don't know if you can see my pointer, but our two antennas are right there on the tower, and they are that high up off the ground. And that is facing towards Fremont Peak. Okay. Now, we have, let's see if I can show it to you here. If you look over to the left side of this picture, you see there's a big, humongous roll of coax sitting there.
Yeah.
That is all half-inch heliax coax. That is extra coax that we didn't chop. We just went ahead and just used and left all the extra there. Okay. Here's the important thing about all that coax. The guy that was up there told us that this other tower, which is inside the military compound, also belongs to the military, and we can move over onto that tower if we want. Now, the point is, we've got a buttload of coax, and it would reach over halfway up this tower and not change anything in the amount of coax we're running our signal through and stuff. So what we are, if you look there, you can see my pointer, all of these little antennas that they have mounted on there, the military has up here and here. Those are all for drone research. That is why the place is sort of secure right now. Okay. Well, if we take our antennas off of the tower it's on and we come and reroute it over to this tower, there is a place right here on this same north facing leg where we can put our antennas. We will go about 35, 30, somewhere between 35 and 40 feet higher than where they are right now. And means we will expand the coverage area without changing any hardware. Just pulling out all that extra cable, moving the antennas over and putting it on the tower. It would require us to find some guys that will be willing to go up there and do the tower work. And the guys that we had put the antennas on in the first place are not doing that anymore. So it means we would have to find somebody, hopefully not a commercial crew, because that would mean we'd have to pay them.
Yeah.
But we can conceivably go on to this tower with all the coax we've got, and it would improve the signal from Williams Hill up to Fremont Peak. It would also improve its coverage up into the northern part of the Salinas Valley. It would also improve signal over towards King City because it would now shoot more over the top of the ridge. And as far as looking south down towards Nacimiento and stuff, again, it'd be better. So that is what we discovered while we were up there. So it's something to think about, kind of say, do we want to make the change? It will take some bodies and some traveling on a real raunchy dirt road. When I got back, I had a brown car, brown windows, brown tires, brown wheels, and when I opened the hood, I had a brown motor. So I said, to heck with it. I took it down to the high school kids' car wash at our church and let them wash it, and they all just stood there looking at it. Like, you did this for us? Yeah. So anyway, that is where things right now it is working great. I can tell you that the squelch tail is set for 1.5 seconds, so it drops fast. And one of the reasons for that is if you have ever worked with a crossband repeater, crossband repeaters will not drop until the signal coming into them from the main repeater drops. So if you have a long squelch tail, you're not going to get into it because your thing is still in receive until it decides to drop before you can go back to transmit. So we put it short for a reason. So crossband repeat operations will work better. And the other thing is the timeout timer has been dropped from 10 minutes down to 2.5 minutes. Okay. So it will, if for some reason somebody sits on it, it will time out a lot faster than it was. It's up running at full power. The repeater's putting out right at 50 watts, and we're getting 40. I think we're getting about 41 watts out of the duplexer into the antennas. So everything is back the way it should be. Oh, and our dear webmaster down there in the right-hand corner, Jim has set up an automatic update for everybody on the FPRA tech crew that every 6 months it's going to remind everybody we got to go up there and check on stuff. So that is something that came out of this visit and all the dirt and all the other stuff. There is one other problem, and I don't have a picture of it, but about an eighth of one of the propane tanks up there is grown over by manzanita.
Oh, yeah.
Can you say fire/explosion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I found that one of the two Generac generators that are up behind the back of the building, the back end of that is grown over by manzanita, and it's blocking the air intake to the generator. Unfortunately, a lot of it is the responsibility of the military because it's inside their compound. And the poor young guy that is sort of the manager is trying to deal with it. It may come to the fact that Alan and I are going to have to go down there to the base and have a sit down face to face with him. Look, guys, you have got to do something. Otherwise, it is very, very easy that we could lose that site. I mean, with just overrun heat. Granted, there's not a lot of, big vegetation coming up there, but the brush and manzanita and stuff that's there, which is around that building, will turn it into an oven,
Mhm.
and it will also melt all the coax lines. So we're going to see if he can get something done. I'm going to check back in with him in a couple of weeks, and if he gets no more action, then Alan, you and I are going to have to just show up on their doorstep and say, okay, guys, you got to do something or you're going to lose your facility. And it's just as simple as that. So I think that is enough. That is the end of my report. So
Well,
otherwise, we're in good shape and everything's working.
well, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea to move that antenna, but it'll take some planning and
It's going to take some planning, some bodies,
bodies.
and a tower climber or two. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
But
good.
I didn't realize, see, John Foster is the one who purchased all of that half-inch coax for the site. I
Ah,
had no idea that he got that much.
yeah,
And we didn't want to chop it. It already came with connectors on it, so we just rolled it in and hooked it up.
yeah,
Said, we'll just leave it all here for maybe future use. Well,
yeah,
now we find out we can use that tower, so let's do it.
yeah. Liam, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you. So Mark Goldberg's roommate is a recent tower climber, sort of, or a
Oh,
recently
yeah,
certified tower climber. So we probably want to talk with him.
yeah.
Right.
Nick.
Yes, Nick.
Yeah.
How's Nick's back doing though? He was pretty well messed up for a while.
I have to claim ignorance. I don't know.
Okay.
Alan, go ahead.
I think another thing can we think about in the future, but this probably needs to go to the Fremont Peak Repeater Association group is what about putting a secondary repeater up there and a second antenna if we have a climber to put another antenna up near that one and maybe put a second repeater so if one of them fails we have a backup in our rack.
We could, there's plenty of room in the rack for it. Man,
Just
it's funny.
just forward thinking, seeing what we could do.
It is funny you should ask that because sitting out in my garage right now, I don't know if any of you guys remember Len W6OPI, who passed away a couple years
Oh, yeah.
ago from an accident with a tree in his well, he had 146910 W6OPI repeater, 2 meter repeater on the air. That repeater went off the air when he passed away. Um, Somebody went up on his property and removed the repeater radio. But in the old shack in the bushes up there was his old 4 cavity duplexer. The duplexer has been cleaned up. It is retuned and it is running beautiful. It's sitting in my garage waiting for a home. If we can come up with a repeater, okay, I've got the duplexer. We could, unfortunately, though, it would be a 2 meter repeater, not a 440, but we could absolutely do that. Okay, and I've got that duplex. Now, if we wanted to get another Yaesu repeater somewhere that could be operated in 440, and we could swap it onto the same band, um, we could do that. I would be more than happy to take this spare Yaesu that I've got now that I know why it's doing what it's doing, and I've talked it over with the Yaesu guys. I'd be happy to put that one down there on 440 as a backup, if we could come up with a duplexer and then put another UHF. As a matter of fact, I'll have to test it to see how wide banded it is, but I've got a commercial UHF Yagi sitting out in my shed. You can have that too. All we got to do is have coax to run up there for it, and you can put another one on. So that offer stands.
All right. Duly noted. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Let's see. The next thing I wanted to cover the Oxcom exercise is completed now, and so I think they were supposed to finish up the after action report this last week. So I'm waiting to hear about that, because that'll be a good document to check out, to see how other people, how they operated, everything, the things that they learned from this exercise. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really curious. What did MCARES do to actually support that activity? I looked online to see if I could find out. I knew it was coming up, but I was trying to see what was actually going to happen, and I could not find anything.
Yeah, it's through the Bay Area UASI.
Uwasi, yeah.
Yeah. And so they do it every couple of years. And it was the same group that did it in 2024.
Hmm.
They also did another one in 2024 that was just the coastal region.
Right.
And I got in onto that, but it's mainly Justin received an email and he reached out about it if we were interested. And at first I said, yeah, but then we didn't have enough people to really participate. So, but I told them we were interested in any of the documentation so we could possibly use that for further training down the road. And so I did receive um, what's called a MESL, which is the Master Scenario Events List. And they have essentially two of them. They have one for the evaluator and then one for the players. And so I got both of those. And I just started looking at some of that, but it's just a listing of what items and they have them timed. So they usually have them coordinated with an EOC, and then the Oxcom part is a part of that. And then they have at certain times they want you to do a certain thing and that kind of stuff, and see if you're able to do it. And so, so I have those documents. I tried to print one of them out, but it seemed like each spreadsheet was not the same size they weren't the same size, though they were all different sizes. So it didn't print out very well. So I'm going to try to work on that so it'll be a better document that we can share. And then Justin received a bunch of other documents that we're going to swap documents too. So we both have the same thing. And so we'll use that as a training opportunity down the road. And so I'm sure that, in another couple of years, they're going to be doing it again. So, and they try to get as many people involved. Several counties, there's all the Bay Area counties that are involved in the Bay Area UASI.
Mm-hmm.
So, including San Benito County. I know Tim wasn't going to play this year either. So, but it's something to look forward down the road. And with these, we can look at other things that we can focus on, because one of the things towards the end of it was using the PACE plan. I think I brought that up about it's kind of I forget what the acronym is, but it's kind of showing your different levels of backup. If something else fails or you're not able to do one thing, then you would switch over to your next prioritized way to do the communication. So it kind of prioritizes different methods of communication, but that's different from your primary. So it'd be really good to have that in place too. So with that, let's see, the next thing I have is we have a new call sign for the club, which is, man, that went by real quick. And now Liam is our trustee for that. And that's going to be good. After looking at, let's see, after looking at trying to switch over that W6 UCS, that was going to be a lot of work to go through to get that switched over.
Are you referring to the call sign for the license for the EOC?
Yes. Yeah.
So what okay, so MCARES now has a license and a call
Yeah.
sign.
Yes.
What happens to the license and the call sign that were assigned to the EOC?
It would if it I think it's in 2 years it when it expires, it'll go into the normal listing of being open.
Okay, so in other words, you're gonna just let that license expire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Liam.
Yeah. So the call sign we just got is for the AEC, the governing body for ARES races. That's different than the EOC call.
Oh, I know. Yes, exactly.
Okay, I wasn't sure. It didn't. It sounded like it
That's
was.
why I was raising the question. So
Yeah.
you're going to keep both,
I
or
believe so.
is the EOC one going to go away? Because back when it was actually originally established, there was no MCARES or
No,
AEC or there was nothing.
but it was assigned to another club.
Yes, it was a club that was supporting the EOC back then. That was
Yeah.
Walt Del Conte that did that.
Yeah. So when that went away, then it got a little complicated there. So
Right. Well, yeah, Walt all of a sudden told me, he says, "Hey, by the way, you guys have have a license and a call sign, and I'm the trustee for it. What do you guys want to do with it?" Or something. I'm going, "Wait, what? Who? We
yeah,
have a what?"
yeah,
I mean, you can't even get into the station in the EOC to
yeah, yeah,
utilize it. Okay, I was just curious how you were going to deal with it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I would agree.
So yeah, the first thing we had to do is have a license for a club, and then from that, then switch it to a vanity that we wanted that goes along with the club name. So
By the way, that is why what happened to Fremont Peak Repeater Association when we tried to get John Wong's call.
yeah,
We
yeah,
had a delay because we didn't have a license, so there was nothing for the FCC to grant it to.
yes,
We had to go out and get a license and then get it transferred. In the meantime, we had all of the paperwork that said we were the number one entitled to that call sign. But the FCC went and gave it to somebody else and said, "Okay, well, it's already active again, so we can't take it back. Sorry."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So at least we have that now, and so I was going to print out a copy to put in the EOC when I'm able to get over there. So at least we have that now. Um, the next thing I wanted to cover is Karen had sent me an email about several things that she had been doing, and so I'd like to have her talk about that. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Back in February, I attended a training class through the Santa Cruz County CERT organization. and it was put on by PG&E, Public Safety Training, and it's the same course that they use with the first responders and search and rescue teams. So it goes beyond a little bit above the CERT training. And after the class was about 2 hours long, I asked that instructor if he would be interested in presenting the class to Monterey County ARES. And he said, actually, Monterey County is not in his district. He's in the Diablo district, but his friend down here would be happy to do that, just to let him know. He'd give him a call and we could set it up. So my question to everybody is anybody interested in this? I learned a lot of good stuff like I never knew. And PG&E is going through a bunch of changes right now too with their power distribution systems and whatnot. So it's good to stay current. And we need maybe 10 to 12 people and a date and a time. So people let me know if anybody's interested and we'll set it up.
Yeah, it sounds good.
I mean, it's ongoing training for us too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And most of us have been through the CERT program, and actually, I was one of the program managers and instructor for our group that we had at one point. And so yeah, that'd be good to. I'll put it out. I'll put an email out and see if see how many people are interested, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Try to find a date, and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Karen, did this PG&E represent, did he give any information to the group on power outages and dealing with that, or anything like what to do when they do shut power down?
Actually, he gave us some phone numbers and a new app that we can use and talked about their distribution system. So, and then all the safety things that they've gone through with that.
Right, right.
And the gas lines too, especially in the fields, he was saying, in Monterey County and Santa Cruz County, anybody that's out there tractoring or disking
Mhm.
runs that risk.
Oh yeah, yeah. My son-in-law used to be, part of his job was actually going out and doing those surveys. And he tells me horror stories about how many people actually hit the lines because they never looked, they never asked. So it's very important. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ellen.
Would be a good time. We could do it at the N6IJ when we do our monthly meeting, Liam. We'll have a good crew there. We'd have a good.
I think that's a reasonable ask. Let's see what the June 2nd meeting with the city brings.
Okay, I won't be at the June meeting, but maybe.
No, it's actually just a couple of us that are there.
Okay.
We're bringing someone with lawyer credentials.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
But I was just thinking that would be a good, it's still ham radio people, and we can kill three birds with one stone with both the N6IJ, Mbara, MCAU, and all of us all together.
Where is
we
the
get
meeting
that.
at?
The idea is a great idea. The timing is slightly sensitive.
Okay, totally
Where
great.
is the meeting at? Location?
That there's just three of us. I don't know yet whether it's going to be N6IJ or a city resource yet.
Okay. Yeah, keep me informed. I would love to come to that.
Okay. Sounds good. So at least I'll put out a email on the reflector to see how many people are interested. So
Sounds good.
and then next I have on my list is about Liam's visit to Me Memorial.
It was actually Alan and I.
Oh yeah, Ellen and you, yes.
So I guess the summary is Alan had set up a meeting with the, I think it's called the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator.
Yeah.
And so we got on site. Alan had preceded me. We made contact. We were led to the room where the equipment was. We went ahead and did a quick inventory of what we had. So there was a radio, a power supply, and a whip antenna, which is not the one that they operate on. It was just one that is there with the equipment. The one that they operate on is on the roof. And we would encourage them to leave it there. And I'll get to that at the end of the report.
Okay.
The first things were, does the radio power up and present itself? And so all of that worked. The one thing I would recommend that we do is rework the lug connections because they've been strained. And while they will work and they're not ready to fall apart, in the interest of robustness, it would be a good practice to rework those terminal ends. But everything does work. We were able to download the existing channel definitions. And one thing to note about the D700, it's a well-known fact that they're finicky. And so when you first establish communications, they don't always work the first time. So you have to be persistent. You have to go ahead and try. If it fails, you try again, and eventually you'll achieve success. And this is a well-known issue from the RT systems developer. Anyway, we were able to download the original channel definitions, which I have in a file. And then we were able to upload I guess it was the July 15th, 2025 MC ARES RACES band plan. We also included the ECE and Salinas Valley repeater group in a separate section below that. So all of that is there. Then we went ahead and took the radio and power supply up to the operating position, which is in the lobby. And there is a coaxial drop at the lobby desk that we basically connected to directly after making sure we shorted it out to be sure there's nothing on no charge on the line, etc. Then I took 2 scans with my Rig Expert 1500 zoom that showed that the SWR for both VHF and UHF for the entire band practically was less than 1.5 SWR. So it's good across the entire band, and so our operating position will be that's very satisfactory. Then I went ahead and ran a power test on the radio with a dummy load and a Yaesu YS500 power meter, and it checks out. It's doing full power at the high end for both UHF and VHF. Medium power, it's actually exceeding the spec. And for low power, it's at spec. So the radio itself is in good shape. It's an old, even though the D700 is an old technology, it's a very capable radio. And it has an integrated packet TNC, which we did not check out, which I would recommend we do that next time around. Because we could potentially use that for either WinLink or a keyboard-to-keyboard packet connection. So overall, it works well. Alan did a lot of the receive side. We went ahead and tested the connection through Williams Hill, Fremont Peak VHF, and Fremont Peak UHF, and we could hear through each of them. The radio easily opened the repeater, and the noise level was pretty low. And Alan basically was receiving both in hospital positions as well as out in the parking lot at his truck.
Great. Good.
Good thing we did that test on Friday because Saturday is the day when Williams Hill went down on us.
Yeah. Okay, good. And so that was similar experience what I had at Salinas Valley Memorial, in swapping out radios and did the check. And so, but it was the newer Yaesu 400 radio that I replaced the other one with. Okay, that's all I have at this point. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, one last thing for Liam and Alan, that you are correct that the 700 does have a TNC in it. I've got one sitting right over here that I used to have in my car. There's only one thing to watch out in that TNC. It does not have a very large buffer in it.
Right.
It's almost keyboard to keyboard. You want to try downloading a message, and I was having problems with it. And then I got a computer that didn't have the 9-pin serial on it, and I just didn't want to mess with it anymore. But
Yeah.
just saying, it does have a small buffer in it.
Yeah, understood. I actually, for all the stuff I've done um, for both 1200 and 9600, it's been satisfactory. I haven't run into a message passing problem. I certainly wouldn't try to move large attachments through it.
Yeah. Jim, do you have a question?
I just have a comment,
Okay.
little humor. Since we talked about PG&E, I got an email from PG&E that shows my usage rate had gone down 10%, but my cost had gone up 25%. Thank you, PG&E.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that your dad joke for the day, Jim?
Yeah, no, it's serious.
I know.
It's not a joke.
Okay.
Another comment. I know, Jim, you sent me the pictures of our trailer that is at your residence.
Yeah,
What is our plans? Like, that belongs to the Monterey County ARES races, correct?
yes. And
Yeah.
our plans are long distance, apparently.
Yeah. And it's not registered yet.
No, the trailer's not registered. The plans are to make it a mobile repeater station. That during an emergency where there's poor repeater coverage, we can take it and set it up on a hilltop and say, okay, this is the frequency we're going to use for this event.
You know, if you want, you can have those duplexers out here to put down there on that trailer.
Oh,
It's 2 meters, but I need it out of my garage. I can't get through my garage. No,
My question
actually, it did get. They were somewhat damaged. The capacitors inside were kind of fried, and a gentleman actually who rebuilds duplexers actually rebuilt it. And I got it back from the ham that was thinking about using it and didn't want it. He says, "Here, take it, please. I need it out of here." Well, now I need it out of here. But I put it on the analyzer and I swept the thing, and it is beautiful. I mean, it's actually better than factory specs. So right now it's tuned up for 146,910, but if you want to do something different, we can retune it for whatever. You just need a radio for it.
I don't know if there's a hole opening big enough in the trailer for the duplexer.
You'd have to, I don't know, strap it down on top or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I think that was
Actually, you've got those 2 compartments on the back end.
Yeah.
One of them's got all the. You could probably slide it in there with it tipped down on its side.
Hmm.
It fits a national. It has rack mounted rails on it, so it would fit a rack mount opening.
Okay.
I'll try and go out and measure it, and I'll send you the maximum dimensions.
Okay.
But
my
yeah,
question is if it's ours and we, that's what we want. But right now, currently, that trailer is not turnkey ready to hook up and drag to some hill to make
No.
it work.
Far from it.
there's still a lot of work. I think that the next thing we were looking at doing is trying to open it up because everything's
riveted.
riveted down. So
somebody needs to fire up that generator. That generator has never been run.
Nope.
It's brand spanking new. It has never been run.
That's another issue. There's a battery for starting the generator, but if we ever need to replace the battery, there's no opening big enough to get the battery in or out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very clear that priority operation is opening the trailer so we have access.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I what do you call it? I drilled out the rivet heads on one of the tops, except I get to the point where the 2 tops meet and I can't get a drill in there.
Oh, yeah.
Time to break
Well,
out a plasma cutter.
yeah, I mean, basically, it's a multi-person task, and so I don't really expect Jim to complete this on his own.
No,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to schedule a couple work days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
But we did get all finally, the biggest struggle was getting all the satellite dish hardware off of it. And we got
Yeah.
the dish off pretty easily, but getting the mounting bracket for the dish turned out to be a real pain in the,
Mm.
you know what.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have anything?
No, I
Okay.
was just thinking, that we had the trailer and we had the repeater go down for us would have been something that could have came down here to King City somewhere and got King City back up and running back to Fremont Peak.
Yeah,
Just
that's right.
as a thought.
Yeah.
The more I've analyzed the situation out there at Fort Hunter Liggett and in talking with Sergio and stuff, and realizing how much they lose communications of all kinds out there, including power and everything else. Um, I now fully understand why they wanted to see some kind of an emergency communication system put in
Yeah.
originally. Um, and you would think, well, it's the military, so they're going to have all of the satellite communication and they can do all of this stuff. Well, yeah, the military can communicate with a satellite, but if you want to talk to the EOC, that doesn't help on the EOC end.
Yeah.
And it is owned by the military, the Army, and there is a base commander, but the whole operation down there is managed by civilians.
Mhm.
The fire department is civilian, to the best of my knowledge. Now, granted, a lot of those civilians are ex-military. That's how the repeater got put in there in the first place. The guy that was the manager down there was ex-military, and he was the one that says, "Hey, let's get an amateur repeater in here." Well, the guy had a general class license too, which
Yeah.
he could get on and he could call for help. But that's why when Dave and I were down there this last time, I got in Sergio's face and says, "Dude, you have got to get somebody, even if it's you, you've got to go get your ham license. It's not that hard. We will help you out, but you have got to get somebody down there on that base that can talk on that repeater."
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm going to do everything." I talked to him about how to take the test. You can actually even do it online. How many questions? Just keep practicing. And so he is said he is really going to look into doing that because he now understands how isolated they really are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mentioned that too with the Matthew Smith. I believe he's the emergency manager down there.
yes.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
the problem they've got is this site up on top of this mountain out there is out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
nobody except for the SPD's repeater stuff that's in there, which that's a whole nother story. That was a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
And ours and Monterey County Office of Education's repeater stuff, and then the two low power FM stations. I mean, that's it. There's a whole nother end of the building that has all the government networking stuff and data relays. But as far as everything else in that building goes, there's nothing there except for us.
Mhm.
So, anyway, that's where it's at.
Yeah. And we don't have to pay for
Correct.
it.
Correct. Oh, speaking of which,
Mhm.
speak keep all your fingers crossed, whatever you want to do. But I talked with him. I said, why? Why can we not come up here and go in and work on this stuff? I said, your secure stuff is in a completely sealed room with a huge big metal door metal padlock, all this kind of stuff. There is nothing of any of the secure stuff that anybody can see. And you've got cameras, so why can't we have a key to be able to come up here and get into this place to work on this stuff? I said the broadcast guys need to be able to, if their transmitter goes off the air and they've got to come up and fix it, that's a commercial entity. You mean to tell me that they may not be able to get up there for days because you don't have the time off to go up? You've got to be able to open this up. He is working on the paperwork for that right now. So
Ah,
fingers
Oh,
crossed,
cool.
we
Yeah.
may be able to get full-time access to that building. Hoping.
Hoping. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
good step. Good step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So
Great. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay, Jim.
Yeah, Bob, I have some diesel fuel, so I'll check and see if there's any life in the battery in that trailer, and then see if I can figure out how to start the generator.
have you been floating it on a charger of any kind?
No, wouldn't know where to hook
Yeah.
it up.
You're probably going to have to reach in through one of the access holes and throw
Yeah.
some jumper cables on there. But yeah, the generator's never been run. That's exactly the way it was when it came out of their building in Santa Clara.
Yeah, there's never been any fuel in the fuel tank.
That's
If you
correct.
if you open the
Yep.
fuel tank and smell it, there's no smell.
Exactly right. That trailer was their prototype for AT&T, and they got canceled. And so that trailer was destined for a junkyard as it sits.
I can imagine why they got canceled.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it either.
Okay, how do you get in this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't, it was not, well, to be kind, it was not one of the best designs. Put it that way. Yeah.
I took a class in college called Human Factor Engineering, and
Yes.
obviously those people never took that class.
You are right. Yes. I took sort of the same thing, and it's like, okay, how does the human being interact with this? This
Yeah.
one, you take a sledgehammer to it.
Okay, anything else? Okay, that's all I have. So and next month, I don't know if we're up for another meeting next month or not. I think we've got a lot of conflicts.
Field day. Oh, I do have another comment, Gail.
Okay, go ahead.
Alan King has a very nice net for South County on Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And I've got the information from Alan. I'm going to post that on our ARES website.
Okay.
And his net is called a training net. And that's true for all the nets. They're all designed to be training nets.
Right.
But it's only training if you sign up to be a net control operator.
Yeah, exactly.
But so, Alan, I'm going to name you the coordinator of the net schedule
Okay.
so that people can contact you if they want to volunteer to be the net control for you said you're not available the first Wednesday of the month?
Yeah, the first Wednesdays I don't do it because that's a conflict with Silver Kings and Queens, another organization I have to be at.
Yeah, I'll put a pitch in there for a volunteer for the first Wednesday, but I'm going to add this to the net control page on the ARES website.
Okay.
And because and I encourage all you people to check into the net too, because it's
Yeah,
it's a nice.
speaking of net controls, I have to admit, Alan is very embarrassing. I mean, he turns in a net roster of who checked in that's like amazing, and I scribble it down on a piece of paper and can't read it when I'm done. So I've actually now printed out my own forms to try and do it. I can't write that fast, but yeah, his reports are they're very ICS-y.
Yes.
Actually, that form was the one that Jim created. I kind of modified it and PDF'd it. I think it's on one of our websites somewhere.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
it's on the ARES website on the
Yeah,
net
I
control
went and
page.
found it. Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's a good log sheet. the lines are numbered, so you don't have to count how many people checked in. You can just read the number.
Yeah.
When I do net control now, I cheat. I take my phone and I set it over next to the radio and I put it on record so I can go
Oh.
back and get all the
Oh,
people
that's a
that
good
checked in I
idea.
missed.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
And
I
then
get
I always usually
names,
do
but
a
then I miss the
plug-in.
calls.
After I do mine, I always do a plug-in that, following this at 1930 is also the Monterey County ARES races, and everybody's welcome and encouraged to join that net as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
good.
here comes
Yeah.
Mark.
So for June, our next one's kind of scheduled for the 20th, Saturday. So if you want to go ahead with that, that's fine.
I thought we moved it down to the 27th.
Well, we could move it to the 27th.
But that's field day.
Yeah.
That's field day.
Oh, it is
Yep.
field day, yes.
So so what do you want to do?
Mark, you're late.
Do what?
Said
I
Mark's
said,
late.
Mark just logged in. He's late.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, there he is. Um, so we could forego the meeting, and if we have something urgent, we could just put it on the reflector. And
Sounds like a good plan.
then our next meeting would be July 18th.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Also, real quick, Bob, I know in this, most of us are here at Fremont Peak. We want to do an in-person here for Fremont Peak coming up soon too, right?
We should.
We just need to find a venue.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Um,
You can meet at my shop building and we can look at the trailer.
I knew that was
There
coming.
you go. That's actually a good idea.
That's true. We could.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get that on the books and get that so we consider do a roundtable discussion about Fremont Peak and that
Right.
trailer and how
Where
we
do
can
we go?
commingle both organizations.
Yeah, hey, I'll make a pledge right here, right now, and that is, I don't know how many of you all know this, but one of the things that KSBW did for Fremont Peak Group up there on the hill is in as bribery to keep us there, because as the CEO said after putting us into their public access file, do whatever you have to do to not let them off the mountaintop in our facility.
Yeah.
We now have roughly 100 megabit up and down Cat5 Ethernet at our rack through their system. They didn't give us we have access to their Wi-Fi, but they gave us a port on their router, and we have a cable run through the building, and it's now coiled up hanging on our rack. We can do whatever we want with internet. So that's one of the reasons, Alan, you're mentioning we need to have an in-face meeting and say, okay, we've got free 100 megabit per second internet access at our disposal. Do we want to do anything with it? And if so, what? And if what, then how? Okay. So everybody, and this kind of can directly affect MCARES as well,
Mhm.
because one of the thoughts that Liam and I have been talking about is there. One possibility is to connect it up somehow to All Star. Okay. Now we had Walt and we had John Wong, who were the two advocates. You will never hook our stuff up to the internet. No, All Star. No, no. Oh my. They. Yeah. Okay. But if you look at Monterey County Office of Emergency Services, Pat Moore, who was the manager, also was a ham, so he could listen and he could talk to Williams Hill. To the best of my knowledge, there's nobody in there right now that is an amateur radio operator.
No.
So if somebody's calling them, how in the world can they listen to what's being asked of them? They can't. If if we somehow, and I can just feel the frustration coming out of Liam's ears trying to figure all of this crazy stuff out, which is why we sort of need to have this meeting. Um, one thing we can do is we can put a link on our webpage that they can click on in the Office of Emergency Services on their computer, and it will connect them up to be able to listen to our network.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's one thing we're kind of thinking, okay, can we do this? I mean, there's other ways you could do it too by having a radio that just sits there and monitors and has it completely separate from our controller and it just works. So, I mean, that's another option, but that's what we need to talk about. So, um, you guys be thinking with that ability up there, what other things could be done with it that would help, MCARES out with? Okay. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Anything else?
One more thing, going back to Jim's plans to update the um, network control schedule is perhaps citing the ARRL requirement for ARES that involves net control, so that people know that it's actually one of the requirements for your sign-off sheet for becoming a true ARES participant.
Yeah.
And it is a training activity, because one time I was doing net control and I trying out a new antenna. The darn antenna didn't work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been playing
middle,
with various HTs recently, and I found one that didn't work so well. So, yeah.
And that's how we discovered why the first time when Williams Hill went down is I went to go do net control that Wednesday night when it completely failed.
yeah.
When we
So
lost the whole, when it burned up.
Yeah. Yeah.
it is indeed a training net.
And then I remember all those proceeding up, and Bob thought it was the weather. Propagations. And in fact, it was an equipment failure all this time.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you're muted, Bob.
Oh,
No, I said hope for the best.
Yeah.
right. Okay. With that, I'll say goodbye until next time. And then if we have anything next month, then we'll just shoot it on the reflector. Oh, Mike, you have something?
I don't think his microphone's working, Mike.
We
Your
can't hear
microphone-
you, Mike. Get a mic, Mike.
Interesting. His
Okay.
audio is enabled.
You're
Can't
not
hear.
muted, but we can't hear you.
You can always type it in the chat.
Maybe his mic's not plugged in.
Yeah, type something in the chat. Pretty bad when a guy named Mike doesn't have a mic.
Okay, I guess that's it.
Okay. Well, till next time. Thank you for sharing everything, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Toodaloo.
Thanks,
Demonstrate
everyone.
good health and high spirits.
Bye.